Have you ever wondered what awaits us after we leave this world? Is it truly the end, or is there something beyond our understanding? Today, I want to share a true story, a near-death experience that could forever change how you look at life. For centuries, countless cultures and belief systems have proposed different views on what comes after death. Some people imagine a peaceful afterlife. Others envision reincarnation or the complete cessation of being. Yet every so often we encounter stories so powerful and vivid they break through our preconceived notions. Stories that make us pause and consider that death may be less of a full stop and more of a transition. What you're about to read is one such story, told by a man who experienced firsthand what it's like to stand on the threshold of the unknown and come back changed forever. Travis Shree, an ordinary accountant, lived life on the fast track, working, eating on the go, and rarely thinking about his health. Then the COVID-19 pandemic struck, forcing him into a challenge he never imagined. For years, Travis had led a busy but unremarkable life. He loved his family, held a stable job, and went through the motions of daily existence without overanalyzing the bigger questions. Like many of us, he believed his biggest worries should center on meeting deadlines, paying bills, and keeping up with routine chores. Even as the world was thrown into uncertainty by COVID-19, Travis assumed he would remain relatively unscathed, a bystander watching global chaos unfold from a distance. But fate had a different plan for him. In the months leading up to his ordeal, Travis became increasingly immersed in his job. Tax season, already stressful under normal circumstances, had turned into a near-nightmarish slog due to pandemic extensions and remote work complications. Travis found himself working 60 to 80 hours a week. Coffee became his best friend. Sleep became a luxury. While his wife, friends, and co-workers occasionally voiced their concerns about his weight and stress levels, he always brushed them off with a quick nod or a wave of the hand, promising he'd slow down after the busy season. That year's tax season dragged on longer than usual due to the pandemic. Travis was swamped with work, eating carelessly and barely leaving his desk. His weight ballooned, but he paid it no mind. Then came COVID-19. At first, he thought it was just a mild fever, but his breathing grew increasingly labored, as if the air was being sucked out of his surroundings. Worried sick, his wife tried to convince him to seek help, but Travis kept reassuring her, repeating, "I'm fine." That was until one evening when he couldn't make it down the stairs. He collapsed, gasping for breath, sweating profusely. His voice quivered. Call an ambulance." The last image he recalled before slipping into a coma was his wife's stricken face, tears rolling down her cheeks. In the days leading up to this collapse, Travis had noticed subtle signs of fatigue, needing to rest after climbing a few steps or losing his breath when carrying groceries, but he chalked it up to stress. Deep down, he may have sensed something was very wrong, yet he couldn't bring himself to confront it. It was easier to believe he was simply overworked and run down. Unfortunately, time was running out, and his body was nearing its limit. Travis awoke in pitch-black darkness. He could hear vague sounds and sense the presence of people around him, but he couldn't move or speak. Nurses entered the room to check on him, yet no one spoke to him. "Why aren't they talking to me? Where am I?" He tried to shout, but no words emerged. It was as though he was imprisoned in an invisible cage, mute and alone. A deep sense of helplessness welled up inside him, and he began to think despairing thoughts. Do they want me to die? Time passed in confusion. Each breath felt like a drawn-out battle. In moments of utter hopelessness, he wanted to give in, to let go. Yet somehow, he clung on. What made this state so terrifying was the profound disconnect between his mind and his body. He heard muffled voices, doctors giving orders, machines beeping, the shuffle of shoes on linoleum floors. But these sounds seemed to come from a distant reality that he could not reach. He remembered hearing nurses discuss oxygen levels and ventilators. Every so often, someone would mention his name, but their words sounded distorted, like an echo underwater. He felt as though he were screaming silently, wanting to say, "I'm here, I can hear you, don't give up on me!" Yet all that emerged was suffocating silence. During one particularly harrowing moment, Travis sensed a medical procedure was being done, perhaps blood being drawn or medication administered. He felt a sharp prick followed by numbness, but he couldn't open his eyes or move his limbs to indicate discomfort. It was in this state of heightened anxiety that his mind started to wander in and out of clarity. The simplest thought, "I need help," ran on loop, blending with flashes of memory. His wife's smile, the face of his child, the blur of an office hallway. He couldn't tell if seconds or hours were passing. The darkness enveloped everything, pressing in from all sides. Suddenly, his surroundings changed. He was no longer in the hospital. He found himself in a brilliantly lit space with no obvious source of light, yet everything was gently illuminated. It was indescribably beautiful, as though made from a pure material unknown to Earth. Travis felt weightless, freed from pain or strain. An unprecedented sense of peace enveloped him. Then he saw a woman. He sensed that there was more than just her presence, yet she was the only one he could clearly see. Strangely, he felt neither fear nor confusion, as if time and worries no longer mattered. She was breathtaking, a beauty beyond anything earthly. He thought about speaking, but decided not to. A faint notion flickered in his mind. I know her, but why don't I remember? She looked at him softly, without speaking aloud, but he could hear her voice resonating within his thoughts. Everything will be all right. He felt an overwhelming surge of compassion and love, an unconditional embrace that made him feel utterly protected. In this surreal dimension, Travis noticed other forms or silhouettes in the periphery, as if there were more individuals or presences nearby. Yet his attention remained fixed on the woman before him. The space itself felt endless. And though he couldn't see a physical ground or sky, there was a tranquil, almost supernatural glow in every direction. Strangely, he sensed that if he wished to explore, he could drift effortlessly, but he also felt no urge to leave the woman's side. She gazed into his eyes and said, "You're in the hospital. You're dying." Travis was startled back to awareness. He had completely forgotten he was hovering between life and death. Yet strangely, fear did not overwhelm him. All the pain and panic faded in an instant. He stayed in that realm a while longer, communicating silently with the woman before him. When she smiled, her laughter filled the space like the warmest melody he'd ever heard, tender and devoid of judgment. Travis felt a profound joy. Then suddenly, everything went dark. He woke up back in his hospital bed. This sudden shift, from serene bliss to the harsh medical reality, hit him like a jolt. One moment he was enveloped in radiance, and the next he was staring at fluorescent lights and blinking monitors. Yet that radiant peace did not leave him entirely. He carried a lingering sense of calm, as though his spirit had been soothed or an ancient fear had been lifted from his shoulders. He opened his eyes, still weary, but with a newfound clarity in his mind. A fierce certainty arose within him. He would survive. As the pain subsided, he tried to recall the woman's face. Why did she seem so familiar? Then in a flash of memory, he realized. It was Whitney, his little daughter, who had passed away at just 16 months old. In that other realm, she had grown, beautiful, strong, waiting for him. All the memories of Whitney flooded back, along with a silent promise in his mind. We will be together again. In the following days, Travis's condition gradually improved. Medical staff told him how close he'd come to succumbing to the virus. His oxygen levels had been perilously low, and they had braced for the worst. Yet, against the odds, his vital signs began to stabilize. During this time, he found himself reflecting on every choice he'd made, wondering if he had ignored too many warnings. His wife, relieved and exhausted, never left his side for long. She recounted how doctors had rushed to intubate him, how they had performed procedures to keep his lungs functioning. The entire ordeal felt surreal, but for Travis, it was a wake-up call he could never forget. Visitors weren't allowed due to strict pandemic protocols, so phone calls, messages, and video chats became his lifeline to the outside world. Each conversation with relatives and friends felt more precious than the last. He often found himself overcome with emotion, tears in his eyes as he pictured Whitney in that glowing realm. He'd whisper softly, "I miss you, baby girl. I miss you so much," holding on to the certainty that she was watching over him. The hospital staff noticed his unusual calmness. While many patients in ICU were anxious or disoriented, Travis exuded a quiet resolve. He seemed almost buoyed by an invisible support, something beyond medicine and machines. Travis understood that even if we leave this world, love never disappears. His daughter had never truly left him. She was always watching over him and his family. He no longer feared death. He knew one day he would see Whitney again, and Vincent too, his son who had died at age 8. This realization was more than just comforting. It redefined his entire outlook on life. He recalled small moments, Vincent's laughter, the way Whitney used to curl her tiny fingers around his thumb. He recognized that these moments, though fleeting, formed the tapestry of love that bound them all together. Most importantly, Travis learned a priceless lesson. Live fully and love wholeheartedly, because every moment is precious. He resolved to share this insight with others. After his release from the hospital, he took an extended leave from work to focus on recovery and to spend time with his wife. He started a personal journal detailing every memory he had of his near-death experience, the sights, the voices, the emotions. He even wrote letters to Whitney and Vincent, which he later read aloud in the solitude of his backyard. Rather than dwelling on grief, these letters became a way to celebrate the bond they still shared, transcending physical loss. Travis also made significant lifestyle changes. He adopted a healthier diet, joined a support group for COVID-19 survivors, and promised himself he'd put family first before deadlines. Whenever doubts crept in, he returned to that vivid image of Whitney, the radiant being telling him, "Everything will be all right." It was as if her words had become an anchor, reminding him that in a universe guided by love, fear cannot hold sway for long. Having returned from the brink of death, Travis Schrei carries a powerful message. Love never vanishes. Our loved ones remain near, even if we can't see or touch them. And when the journey of this life draws to a close, we will be reunited in those loving arms once more. In sharing his experience, Travis hopes to remind us all of our shared humanity, that no matter how different our beliefs or backgrounds might be, we're connected by love and compassion. While death remains a mystery, his story stands as a beacon of hope, suggesting that our existence doesn't simply end. Whether we interpret his vision as spiritual truth, a miraculous coincidence, or something else entirely, the lesson remains undeniable. Live with intention, cherish every moment, and never underestimate the enduring power of love. If this story resonates with you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to discover more near-death experiences. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.